So now I will show you how to do a factory network unlock. In my opinion, this is the most valuable way to unlock your phone, and once you have an unlocked phone, you will be able to resell it at a higher price, and your phone will be compatible worldwide with all carriers. The first thing we have to do is to disable Find My iPhone, so simply go to Settings, scroll down where it says iCloud, and scroll all the way down where it says Find My iPhone. Make sure it is completely off, so you can turn it back on once your iPhone has been unlocked successfully. Alright, so then we have to get the IMEI number. Simply open your dial pad and type *#06#. So as you will see, your 15-digit IMEI number will appear. You can also find this number on the back part of the box of your phone or also in the SIM card tray. Alright, so this is by far the most important part of the whole unlocking process. Now keep this number somewhere close as we will need it in a few seconds to unlock this phone. Alright, so now we're gonna use the computer. iTunes saying congratulations, your iPhone has been unlocked. Boom, there you go guys, your phone is now fully factory unlocked and now it's compatible worldwide with all carriers. You should get a full signal on your new carrier. And that's it guys, that's how we unlock an iPhone 7. That's all for today guys. If you have any questions, just leave me a comment and I'll try to help you as soon as I can. By the way guys, we're also giving away a free iPhone 7, completely sealed, brand new phone. You can find the instructions on how to enter the giveaway in the next video. Thanks for watching guys, take care.
Hello everybody, welcome to Crystal Key. So, iPhone 7 and 7 Plus just came out and Apple really hyped up their new cameras. And on paper they appear to seem really good, but are they good enough to outperform the highly praised camera on the Galaxy S7 and Note 7? Well, the big changes with this year's iPhones is that now the smaller model has optical image stabilization, thank goodness. So video should be smoother and pictures should be less blurry. And there's also a higher aperture of 1.8 for shallow depth of field and hopefully brighter low light pictures. And of course, on the Plus model, we have a second telephoto lens for getting closer to subjects. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So first up, we have a picture that pretty much represents what to expect from each phone. The iPhone 7's camera always creates a very natural representation, but this year it seems even better because it's able to handle situations with high dynamic range very well. And the Galaxy S7 is also really great at handling high dynamic range situations like the sky, but it's always a little less natural and I guess more eye-catching with its punched up colors and cranked up contrast. And even though it looks beautiful, it's just not very realistic and you do lose a lot of details in the darker areas with this crazy amount of contrast. It's really going to come down to preference, and I like the iPhone 7's less contrasty image here. Now here you'll see that the Galaxy S7's lens is a bit more wide angled, so you're going to be able to get more in the shot. So if you see the top of that structure here, the iPhone has it very out of frame. Now one big difference, and this is always really important to me, is how well the iPhone 7 captures the blue of the sky. You have much more information in the clouds, whereas with the Galaxy S7, it shows the clouds as just being pure white. I mean, there's really no amount of editing that can fix that. And I do like the vibrant colors more in the Galaxy S7, and that bump up in contrast does look good here. In this situation, it comes down to great dynamic range versus great colors and contrast. So I'll give both a tie. Really, all flagship phones these days will do very well in outdoors. And this is a shot that last year's iPhone 6s would lose easily due to the fact that the depth of field would be very lacking. But this year, the iPhone 7 really competes with the S7 with very similar apertures, so we have a nice blur behind the subject, really emphasizing the flower on both. I mean, both look great, although the iPhone is a little warmer, which I do like, but if we zoom in, you'll notice that the Galaxy S7 is a little sharper. You can make out the little hairs on the leaves better with the S7, so I'd give a slight win to the S7. Now here, right off the bat, you'll see a big difference in color. The iPhone 7 is very bland compared to the Galaxy S7, with the S7's colors being so vibrant and beautiful. And that extra contrast here looks really nice, almost making the iPhones appear a little hazy. I mean, both handle the background sky very well, but I would definitely give the crown to the S7 here with its beautiful colors. With this picture, once again, you'll see that that wider angle lens on the S7 gets more things into the shot, and it also has punched up contrast and colors, but on top of this, there's also a little difference in color temperature. The iPhone 7 leans a little more towards a yellowish tint compared to the S7, which I'm not that big of a fan of, and also if you take a look at the top of this building, it's clearly blue on the Galaxy S7, where on the iPhone, it's a very bland dark blue. And sure, that could mean that's a little more realistic, and some people may say that's what makes a picture considered to be good, but in terms of the most visually pleasing photo, I like the S7 a bit more. Okay, so here's our last outdoor picture. And by now, I'm sure we're all aware of the main differences. We got more saturated colors with the S7 and more contrast as well, which makes the photo look really nice in some areas, but sometimes not so much. Like if we zoom in on my hair kind of just blends together to create a black blob on the S7, where on the iPhone, you can kind of make out the different strands and layers. And while we're zoomed in here, you can see that the iPhone 7 is a little more grainy, while the S7 appears to have some post-processing smoothing going on. Okay, now let's zoom out, and let's take a look at the telephoto lens on the iPhone 7 Plus. So in a situation like this, that second lens really comes in handy. It's optically zoomed in, not digitally, so it's very clear. Now let's see what happens if we try to digitally zoom in with the S7. Yeah, it's just not the same effect. Now let's get into some low light shots. And like I said, most flagship phones will take great pictures outdoors, but it's low light where we start to see some real big differences. And that being said, I'm really impressed with how well the iPhone 7 does here. Last year's 6S Plus would have lost this comparison by miles, and you'll really see this when you check out my iPhone 7 versus iPhone 6S comparison coming in the next few days. But for now, the sky looks great on both here. Both images are bright, but if you look at the wood flooring on the boardwalk, you'll see that the S7 is slightly brighter. The S7 does have trouble though at exposing the bright signs, clipping in the highlights, where the iPhone 7 captures all the detail. And the S7 has a bit more post-processing sharpening going on, but not by much, and both phones are very colorful here. I mean, it's going to come down to preference for this one, but I really love how the iPhone 7 handles dynamic range here. Here's a picture Dan took of me, and there's a pretty big difference here. The S7 is much warmer, while the iPhone 7 seems to try to be correcting those harsh yellow lights. If we zoom in though, you'll see that the iPhone 7 has a lot more noise compared to the S7, and it seems very soft, so I'd say the S7 wins here. Here, the iPhone 7 appears brighter, but not without a slight haze, as if you turn the brightness slider up in an editing program. It creates a less colorful image, and it's one situation where some extra contrast would really help. The Galaxy S7 is bright, but remains colorful, with enough contrast, and it handles the bright areas of the image better, making it the winner here. Okay, let's get into more extreme low light. And there's a pretty clear winner here. No pun intended. The S7 is much more clear, with the iPhone 7 showing lots of gain. Mr. Krabs is looking pretty good in the S7's shot with his nice colors, and zooming in, you can easily make out the division between his fingers, or I guess claws, where the iPhone 7 really loses this detail. The S7 wins by a lot here. Okay, but what about the selfies? The iPhone 7's front-facing camera has much improved, going from a 5 megapixel sensor to a 7 megapixel one. So you'll see we get a lot more detail over the Galaxy S7 since it's only 5 megapixels. Now, the Galaxy S7 does have an extremely wide-angle lens, giving its shot a much different look, and that's really great for group pictures or showing the background to give some context as to where you are, and I really do love that. But the iPhone's great picture quality compensates for its cropped-in shot. The sky really comes through with the iPhone. And even though the S7's skin smoothing helps remove imperfections, the iPhone 7 captures so much detail. So it depends on what you're looking for. But overall, the iPhone wins when it comes to image quality, while the S7 wins when it comes to actually getting everything in the shot. Now, when it comes to low light selfies, even though the S7 is much more wide angled, its quality takes a nosedive. And even though I really love that wide angle lens, it's just way too soft of an image for me to want to post anywhere, so I go with the iPhone 7 when it comes to low light selfies. Both phones record 4K video, and they do a great job, but there's a couple of things to look for here though. So first, let's take a look at how well the optical image stabilization does on both. The iPhone 7 Plus is much smoother, which is very important for taking video. And the S7 is not too bad, but it's definitely a little more shaky. Now, in terms of quality, the S7 has very vibrant colors and a lot of contrast, while the iPhone's, once again, is more realistic, and I actually really love that here. It almost has a film type of look to it. It's less extreme contrast is probably what does it, but it looks really good. Now, when the camera moves to show me in front of the sunset, the S7 really struggles to expose everything properly, while the iPhone has no problems at all. The iPhone 7 wins by a lot here. So overall, I was really impressed on how well the iPhone 7 did compared to the S7. And if you remember my video comparing last year's iPhone to the S7's camera, you'll know that the iPhone 6S really fell behind, but this year is not the case. It's a very close comparison, but I do think I prefer the S7's image a little more often than the iPhone 7. Both phones take very different styled images, so it really is going to come down to preference. So I want to know what you guys think. Please let me know in the comments below. And stay tuned for the full review of the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus and another camera comparison comparing this year's iPhone to last year's 6S. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys later.